Hello and welcome. I'm Michelle Dalbec, and I'll be leading you through a 60-minute gentle Kripalu yoga class. During the class, I'll be using some props. I'll be using a blanket and some blocks. If you have those available, or any other props that you have available in your space that you'd like to get, you might want to take a moment and gather those props for yourself. During the class, if I offer anything that doesn't resonate with your body, please feel free to modify or change it to suit your needs. So we'll begin with a centering. And I always find it helpful for a centering when I'm sitting to actually use a prop to give me a little bit more support and comfort. So if you have a cushion or a folded blanket, you might want to bring it underneath your hips, just to get your hips at the same height or higher than your knees. You don't have to sit with your legs crossed either. The legs can be extended out in front of you. You can actually be kneeling on your shins. Whatever position allows you to have some ease and stability. Once you get your hips and your legs set, sit up tall and straight, reaching up right through the crown of the head. Take a moment to soften and settle the shoulders down away from the ears. Take a big breath in through your nose and let it out through an open mouth with a gentle As you make any little final tinkering adjustments to your posture, start to take your attention inward. And that might be that you just soften your gaze. You might actually allow your eyes to partially close or fully close. Whatever you do with the eyes, just allowing your attention to be within. And take a moment to welcome yourself here to this practice. Welcome your body. Welcome your body by taking a moment to scan it, acknowledging any sensations that are present moment to moment. Welcome your breath here, your life force, your constant companion. Feel the breath as it's moving through you, gently flowing in and out through your nose. Welcome your mind here as well. And just notice what the quality of mind is in this moment. Is your mind racing and full of thoughts? Are you present with your body and your breath? Whatever is happening is perfect. There's no need to change it. There's no need to create any judgments around it. Just acknowledging where you are in this moment. I've often find that the breath is this uniting force of body and mind. So once more, turn your attention back to your breath and begin to lengthen and deepen your breath. There's no need to rush this. There's no need to force. Simply allow each breath to flow in and out through the nose with ease and grace. And you may notice that the belly is very responsive to the breath. As you breathe in, the belly expands. And as you breathe out, the belly, it returns, it kind of shrinks back to its original shape and size. You might want to start to put a little bit of emphasis on that, letting the belly expand with breath in and relax and deflate with breath going out. Notice that the ribs do the same thing. As you take a full deep breath in, the ribs broaden and flare. As you exhale, they kind of hug back in towards the midline of the body. As you watch and witness this movement of breath and body together, again, you might want to start to emphasize pouring just a little bit more breath into the ribs, letting them expand out like a barrel, 360 degrees around. As you continue to explore the breath, begin to unite those two regions of the breath, the belly and the ribs. Start the inhale in the belly and let it gradually grow up and flare the ribs. On exhale, ribs relax, belly deflates. Breathing in, let the breath fill you up from belly through ribs, and as you're ready, let it go higher, let it climb towards the collarbones, like it's going to tuck right up underneath the collarbones. And on exhale, the breath releases from the top down. The yogis call this breath Dirga Pranayama, or the complete yogic breath. Keep tracing this breath over and over again, watching it, feeling it in the body for a few more rounds. Feel the lulling force of this breath, soothing any rough spots or frenetic energy, soothing a busy mind or an activated nervous system. Take one more big breath in, filling completely to the top. And when you get to the top, sit up even taller. Hold the breath in for just a moment. And when you release, open the mouth and let it whoosh out silently or with sound. Take a moment to untuck or unfold your legs out in front of you. If they're a little stiff or sleepy, you might want to give them a little shake to wake them up. Come down off of your prop. You can move that prop to the side for right now. And bring yourself to lie down on your back. Once you're on your back, let your knees gather into your chest. Wrap your arms. They can go over the shins or behind the thighs. Knees can be close together or wide apart. Give yourself a little hug here and begin to rock yourself gently from side to side. You can let the muscles in the neck be relaxed so that the head kind of is pulled along for the ride. Slosh yourself from side to side. Again, another lulling, soothing movement. Take one or two more rocks side to side and land yourself back in center. As you land in center, if the hands are over the shins, bring them to behind the thighs. As you breathe in, slowly begin to extend the legs towards the ceiling, flexing the feet, pressing up through the heels, just beginning to explore opening up the back of the legs. And as you exhale, take the full breath out to bend the knees and hug the legs back into the chest and belly. On inhale, legs expand up. And on exhale, knees bend, legs hug back in. Continue to do that. Feel free to add the arms reaching up. And on exhale, as you recoil the legs back to the body, you may want to tuck the chin to the chest and bring the forehead towards the knees. Head releases back down to the floor as you inhale and expand up. And on exhale, knees bend, head can stay on the floor, or you can roll chin to chest, forehead towards knees. 1 or 2 more times, flowing body and breath together. Slow and easy. Next time, the knees hug into the chest. Pause for just a moment. Leave the legs drawn into the chest, but now take the arms out to the side, right about shoulder height. Palms can face up or face down. The arms will act like stabilizers on either side of you to help steady and support you. Take a breath in. As you exhale, slowly let the legs begin to move over to the left, knees dropping towards the floor. The head will gently turn right. As you inhale, head and knees move back through center. And as you exhale, knees move right, head moves left. You can go part way to the floor or all the way. Inhale back to center. Exhale, releasing into a spinal twist. As you go side to side, move body and breath together in a slow, gentle rhythm, allowing heat to begin to build up in the body. Flowing, easy and steady. Next time you pass through center, pause. And on exhale, roll all the way over onto your left side. Let the legs come all the way down to the floor. You can leave the left arm extended out in front of you and bring a prop underneath your head for some support. Knees are bent, stacked on one another, drawn right up in front of the hips or belly for support and stability. Start with your right fingertips resting on the top of the right shoulder. Point the right elbow towards the ceiling. Start to make slow, steady circles, like you were drawing with the point, the tip of your elbow, a circle on the ceiling of your room. The circle starting slow and easy. When you feel ready, the circles can expand out. And as you make these circles, feel yourself investigating the landscape of your right shoulder, the top, the front, including the chest, the back, and including the upper back area. The circles can grow as wide as you like. Take a few rounds circling the opposite direction. And feel free to allow the arm to straighten. This might change the sensation a little or a lot. Take 1 or 2 more rounds of circling. Noticing any sticky spots or tight spots. And the next time that right arm comes to the space in front of you, pause for a moment and let yourself roll over onto your back. Let your knees stay bent, but your feet land on the floor here. Arms can rest by your side. Take just a moment to notice the difference between the two sides of the body. When you're ready, slowly roll yourself over onto your right side. The right arm can be straight out in front of you, prop underneath the head. Knees bent up in front of the hips or belly, left fingertips on left shoulder, left elbow pointing straight up towards the ceiling. As you're ready, begin to make a small, slow circle, like you were tracing the circumference of a quarter. Slowly letting that circle grow larger and larger, capturing more and more sensation in the shoulder, chest, and upper back area. You might notice that this side moves or feels a little or a lot different than your right side. Take some time going in the opposite direction with those circles. And again, feel free to allow that arm to straighten out. Noticing where sensation is stronger in that circle. Ways that you may need to work with moving the arm or breathing as a way to support yourself more. Next time that left arm circles around in front of you, bring the hand to the floor right in front of your chest. Take a moment to press down into the floor. Help yourself right on up to sit. As you come up to sit, once again, you may want that prop underneath your hips. Take a moment to make yourself comfortable, arranging the legs, sitting up tall and straight. Let the arms hang down by the sides here. On inhale, left arm reaches out to the side, palm spins towards the ceiling, all the way up overhead, and as you exhale, begin to bend or lean over to the right hand supporting you. On inhale, come back to center. The arm can stay up over the shoulder or it can travel all the way back down to the earth. Inhale, arm flows up. Exhale, arm travels overhead as you bend and open up the whole left side of the body. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling, arm can stay overhead or flow all the way to the floor. Trace this movement with your body and your breath a few more times. Looking at this movement as a way to feel and find sensation on the left side of the body rather than to get as deep as you can. Next time you rise up, exhale, left hand to the floor. Take a full breath in and out here. You could roll the shoulders up to the ears, back and down. And again, you'll trace that same movement pattern again, this time the right arm traveling up overhead on the inhale, exhaling to reach up and over into side stretch. Using the breath in to come up, exhaling the hand all the way back down to the earth. Flowing, moment to moment, movement to movement, breath and body. Finding just enough stretch with each repetition. Investigating what is just enough right now. One more time, up and over into side stretch. And then invite yourself back up on an exhale. Release that right arm all the way back down to the earth. Take a big breath in through your nose and a letting go breath out the mouth. once again, take those legs out in front of you, come right on down onto the floor, move whatever you're sitting on out of your way. Bring your hands to the floor behind you. The fingertips really can point in any direction you like. Elbows stay straight. You lean back a little bit as if you were coming into a lounge chair. Bend the knees. Bring the feet to the floor. Heel toe them so they're really wide. If your mat is traveling up, back and forth, or up and down, you want your feet to be as wide, if not wider, than the mat. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, knees flow over to the right. Inhale back to center, and on exhale, they go left. They're like windshield wipers, clearing up any weather that may be happening in the hips here. Beginning to lubricate the big hip joints and give the back of your hips, your buttocks, a little massage as you go side to side. Take one or two more little windshield wiper movements, and then come back to center. Let both knees drop over to the left and swing the feet off to the right, out of the way, so you can crawl right up and over onto your hands and knees. As you come onto your hands and knees, you'll be facing the front of your mat. And this is a great place to grab a blanket and layer that blanket or a cushion underneath your knees for a little bit of comfort. Your blocks, if you're using them, bring those right up to the top of your mat and set them off on either side. Let them be there waiting in the wings for you. Stack your knees right underneath your hips and your wrists right underneath your shoulders. Level off your spine like the top of a table, crown of the head pointing straight forward, tail pointing straight back. On an inhale, begin to lift the tailbone and the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, belly spills towards the floor. On exhale, tuck the tail and the chin and press the back of your ribs up towards the ceiling, rounding the spine. Go back and forth here in this movement, cat and dog. Finding and fielding stretch all up and down your back body from tailbone to the base of the neck, and on inhale from the pubic bone all the way up to the pit of the throat. One more time in each direction. And then come back to center. Step your right foot forward now up in between your hands. And as the knee bends, stack it right on top of the heel. Left knee is somewhere behind the hip. This is a great place to use your blocks. The blocks will come right underneath your shoulders. They act like stilts for your arms, making your arms a whole foot taller if it's on the highest side. Spine lifts and lengthens here. You can stay here in this low lunge, hands rooted into the earth or onto your blocks. If you'd like a little bit more sensation, crawl the hands right up onto the top of the right thigh. Begin to draw the torso up and back, stacking ribs and head right on top of hips. Level the pelvis off as best you can, drawing the tailbone down, lifting the rib cage up. Hands can stay here on the top of the thigh, or you can sweep the arms out to the side and up overhead. They can be in a big wide V if you like, in this kneeling version of warrior or kneeling Virabhadrasana. Take a few breaths here, and as you lengthen and deepen the breath, notice where you feel the breath strongly. Notice your relationship to balance here in this posture. One more big breath in. As you exhale, float the hands, if the arms are lifted, back down to the front thigh. Keep the spine long as you hinge from your hips to release the hands down to your blocks or the floor. Step the right knee back underneath the hip and move the blocks off to the side. Keep the knees hip distance apart, or you can take the knees out as wide as the mat goes. Big toes can come to touch as you slide the hips back to rest on the heels. The torso lays on top of the thighs, or if the thighs are spread wide, in between as you bow towards the earth. Let the forehead come in contact with something, the floor. You can pull a block underneath your forehead. In lieu of a block, you can stack your forearms one on top of the other and perch your forehead on top of your forearms. Taking a few breaths here in Garbhasana, the child. Breathing and relaxing. Feeling how the breath moves through the body when the body is in the shape of the child. When you're ready to release, bring yourself up to hands and knees once more. Knees come right under the hips, just like before. This time, the left foot will step forward. As the knee bends, stop it right over the heel. Right knee is hip distance apart from the left foot, and the knee is somewhat behind the hip to create a little stretch in the front of the hip. Blocks, if you'd like to use them, come right underneath the shoulders. The spine lifts and lengthens here. The chest opens, back of the neck is long. Once again, you can stay here with the hands rooted and supported on the earth or on blocks. A little bit more balance and perhaps a little bit more stretch, and a tad bit more effort would be to bring the hands up to the top of the thigh. Or for even more work and a little bit more heat, you can sweep the arms on a breath in, out to the side and up overhead. Again, the arms can land in a big wide V so the shoulders can stay soft and relaxed away from the ears in this kneeling version of Warrior Virabhadrasana. Feeling the steady rhythm of your breath here. Look for anything in this shape of your body that can soften as a way to support you as you take 2 more long, slow, deep breaths here. Fill up one more time. Big breath in. On exhale, hands travel back down to the thigh if the arms are lifted. Hinging forward at the hips. Hands find the blocks or the floor. Pausing here to tuck the right toes under. Lifting the right knee off the mat. Take a breath out and hop or step the right foot forward, hip distance apart from the left. Let the knees have a generous bend in them. If you have any pressure conditions, like blood pressure or upper extremity pressure, keep the head at the same height as the heart, and you can brace your forearms over the knees. If you'd like to surrender a little bit more deeply into this forward fold, feel free to let the belly come down on top of the thighs. The spine drape over the front of the legs. The hands can rest on the blocks or on the floor. Let the head relax and bow as you explore stretch in the back of your legs. You can allow the legs to straighten any amount to pull and gently extend and stretch the muscles on the back of the legs. Take 1 or 2 more breaths here in Uttanasana, standing forward fold. When you're ready, hands come up to the top of the thighs, spine lifts and lengthens once again, and then take a breath in and slowly lift that straight spine all the way up to stand. As you rise up, take just a moment to pause and observe how the body feels in this moment, how it may feel quite different than it did when you first sat down to practice. When you're ready, take a quarter turn to face the long side of your mat. You might want to take a moment to move any cushions or blankets out of the way if you were using them, and come to stand right in the center of your mat. Let your feet stand hip distance apart, pointed straight forward. Stack your hips right on top of your heels. And find a levelness between the back of your pelvis and the front of your pelvis, so that top rim of the pelvic bowl is level. The ribs lift up and away from the hips, shoulders relax down on the dome of the rib cage. Back of the neck grows long as the fingertips unfurl and extend for the earth in Tadasana, the mountain. Feel the qualities of steadiness in this simple standing pose. The majesty of a steady, strong mountain. As you take your next breath in, slide your right hand up to hold your hip. Left arm begins to sweep out to the side and up overhead, palm turning towards the ceiling. As the arm gets overhead, exhale and begin to send the hips off to the left as you lift and arc the upper body over to the right. Go as far as you can into the stretch and find that boundary between effort and ease. Pausing here in Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose for the next 3 breaths. Feel the roots of your feet grounding into the earth, the spine arcing up and out of the pelvis, and the shoulders settling and sinking away from the ears. To release, inhale, bringing the hips back to center, the torso upright. Exhale, the left hand comes down to perch on top of the hip. Let the eyes soften or close here as you take a moment to savor the sensations on the left side of the body. When you're ready to continue, take a breath in, right arm sweeps out to the side, palm swivels towards the ceiling and all the way up overhead. As you exhale, hips begin to press to the right as the whole upper body arcs up and over to the left. Once again, find the quality you can, that steady presence of mountain, even in this half moon, side bending posture. Where is your body steady and present? Where is it vibrant and alive? And how is your breath flowing? Inhale all the way back up to center. Exhale, arm flows back and down. Let the hand come up to catch the hip. Take a big breath in through your nose and a big breath out through your mouth. Separate the feet now, almost a leg's distance apart. As you heel toe or wiggle your feet apart, think about an isosceles triangle, right? You want the length of both of your legs and the space between your feet all to be even, right? Little high school math. From here, swivel the right hip open, letting the toes point towards the short side of the mat. Angle the left toes in a little bit. Heel scoots away, about a 45-degree angle. The ribs and shoulders square towards the long side of the mat. Holding the hips, lift and lengthen the rib cage up once more. And as you exhale, begin to slowly let that right hip drop down. Hips like a teeter-totter, tilting, right hip down, left hip lifting. Continuing to tilt, let the spine go along for the ride, staying long on each side of the waist. And when you get to the end of movement, some muscle somewhere gives you the signal to stop. Something about the pose invites you to just pause and savor. You can keep the hands on the hip here, or you can let the right arm slide down the top of the leg just till the elbow's straight. The left arm can also lift up overhead in Trikonasana, the triangle. As you pause here in triangle and breathe, find the ground of your feet root down to feel stability. Keep the spine growing long from tailbone to crown. And let the breath flow as easy and smooth as possible, riding the waves of sensation. When you're ready to release, inhale, lift up through the left arm, bringing everything back to center. Exhale, left arm releases down. Right leg swivels back into place to point towards the long side of the mat. Take a moment to pause and receive the effects of Trikonasana, the triangle. Repeating the pose on the other side, left hip swivels open. Right foot readjusts so that the foot is angled, pointing in just slightly, about 45 degrees. Shoulders and ribs square to the long side of the mat. Bring the hands once more to hold the hips. And as you exhale, left hip depresses down and it draws back ever so slightly so that you lean out over the top of that left leg. Keep moving at a snail's pace into the first iteration of this shape, finding those borders or boundaries of stretch or strength or that balance between ease and effort. Once you find your stopping place, firm the feet down into the earth, lengthen the spine, and if you'd like, you can add the arms. Left arm slides down and perches on the top of the leg. Right arm can lift up. Let the span of your arms create an opening through the chest to the upper back here in Trikonasana, the triangle. Take 3 long, slow, deep breaths here. Let the breaths flow in and out through the nose. letting a sense, again, a lulling, a calming come over the body, even as the body is working in triangle. As you're ready to release, inhale, reach up through that right arm, bring yourself back upright. Exhale, right arm releases. Left leg swivels in. Now you'll heel toe your feet back together right underneath the hips. One hand comes to rest on the belly, the other hand comes to rest on the center of the chest. Gaze is soft or eyes are closed. And just receive without any expectation of what should come. Just notice what is. Slowly allow the eyes to open if they've been closed. Once more, turn to face the front of your mat. Walk back to the top of your mat once more. See if you can find mountain pose again for yourself. Feet right underneath the hips. Hips level from front to back, stacked right over the heels. Spine long. This time, bring the hands to hold the hips. Take a breath in. As you exhale, begin to bend your knees and send your hips back. As you do that, hinge forward at your hips, keeping your spine long. Pausing halfway down or allowing the spine to round and drape over the top of the legs. Release the arms. They can come to the floor, or you can grab your blocks once more. Take a breath in and step the left foot back, just far enough you can lower the knee down to the earth. Right knee comes to meet it. Let the blocks move off to the side, and from here, bring yourself right on down onto your belly. Once you're on your belly, stack your forearms one on top of the other. Bring your forehead to rest on your forearms. Let your legs relax behind you. You can let the toes turn in towards each other, the heels fall open. Take a few breaths here, resting on your belly. Lifting the head to look forward in front of you. Lift the shoulders and the rib cage off the mat just far enough that you can draw your elbows right underneath your shoulders. Forearms are parallel with one another. Begin to straighten the feet out behind you, pointing the toes towards the wall behind you. Press the front of your hips down into the mat and let the sternum lift up as the crown of the head reaches for the ceiling in the Sphinx pose. Finding the opening of the chest and the front of the shoulders, the length in the back of the neck, and the rooting of the legs and the hips into the earth. Let the breath move the rib cage almost like an accordion, letting it expand out on breath in and recoil in on breath out. Explore just a few more rounds of this rib cage breath in Sphinx pose. One more big breath in. On exhale, begin to walk the elbows out to the side. Once more, you can stack the forearms on each other to lower the head back and down. You may want to let the hips rock a little side to side to take any crankiness out of the low back. You could also accelerate the movement by bending the knees and letting the shins and feet windshield wipers side to side. Take another breath or two, rocking or wiping side to side, and then come back to center. And from here, you'll roll yourself over onto your back. As you come down onto your back, once again, bend your knees. Hug them into your chest. Just like at the beginning, give yourself a little rock from side to side. Slosh yourself. If there are any other movements here that would feel particularly good for your body, feel free to make any other little movements that feel soothing and balancing. Come back to center. Once again, arms go out to the side, right about shoulder height, like those little stabilizers you want to be able to press down. This time, drop your feet to the floor and let them walk apart till you find the outer edges of your mat. Take a breath in. On exhale, knees go left. They may come all the way down or just part way down, but they're staggered here. Head turns as far right as is comfortable for the neck. Feel free to prop underneath the outside of the left knee or the inside of the right knee with your blanket or your blocks, if that would help to support you as you take a few breaths here in this reclining spinal twist. Let the breath be as easy as possible. Let the body be as relaxed as possible here. One more breath in, and on exhale, head and knees come back to center. And you'll allow the knees now to drop right, head turns left. And again, you may note that the two sides of the body in spinal twists function or feel a little or a lot different. There's nothing that you need to do to change anything, but just the ability to observe yourself. So again, any props that you might find supportive. A few breaths here to let the body start to surrender and relax. And then bringing the knees back to center. Take the arms, resting one hand on the belly, the other hand on the chest, and just check in. How do you need to be for relaxation? You may take a moment to gather and layer on clothing. You might like to put props underneath you, like a blanket under the knees or under the back of the head. You might like to cover up with a prop. The body tends to get cold very quickly when you lie still at the end of a practice. So as you adjust yourself to lie on your back or curl up on your side or flip back over to rest on your belly, make sure that you're comfortable, supported, and warm for Savasana, the relaxation portion of the class. As you make your way into this final resting pose, make any and all adjustments so that your body can be as at ease as possible. Let go of the need to control the breath in any way. Let the breath be as natural and soft as possible. And the mind may be fine just to be let loose and wander. Or your mind might feel much more supported and relaxed more quickly if you give the mind a task. So you could allow the mind to watch the flow of breath or scan the body. Don't worry about making anything happen here. Simply allow the body to rest and receive the benefits of your practice. You'll be here for a few minutes. So begin to feel the belly moving as you breathe in and breathe out. As you wake up to that feeling of breath and body, start to slowly breathe a little deeper, a little fuller. Let some small movements come to the body. You can start with fingers and toes moving, but let that little movement expand into larger movements that feel absolutely tailor-made to help wake you back up. Move and breathe until you feel ready to transition from lying down to sitting up. Take all the time you need here. Go slow. Once you come up to sit, just assure that you are comfortable and stable for the next few minutes. Keep your attention close in, so that could be eyes open with gaze soft, eyes partially closed or fully closed, but just take the next few minutes to sit in the presence of the effects of your practice. Notice the array of sensations, the shift of perspective, the qualities of mind and breath. And as you reflect back over your practice, start to acknowledge that there was what you were practicing, and then there was how you were practicing. How you were practicing with curiosity, maybe, patience, compassion, tenderness, slowness. However you practiced, whatever the quality was, what if you were to take that quality out into your day with you, or into your evening? If you could take that as part of practice off the mat with you. So as we get ready to close this practice, let's do it with chanting the sound of Om. If you'd like to join me, you might take a moment to bring your hands up to connect with the center of your chest in any gesture that feels authentic to you. Take a nice full, deep breath in. Bowing your head to your own heart, acknowledging the wisdom of Source within. Namaste.